here's a note. If you're going to do a radio show, the hardest part is the theme music. Getting the theme music right is the hardest part. Bob Kennedy is here from Berkshire Hathaway Home Team Realty. Gosh, your name came up a lot this morning, Bob. We were talking about why some homes or some areas are more expensive than others, and then insurance came up, and then outdoor insurance came up, so many different things. Bob Kennedy is here to answer your real estate-related questions. Bob is from Berkshire Hathaway Home Team Realty, and the phone number to call right now is 622-9622. We invite you to call, and don't worry about interrupting us if we're talking about something, because your questions are important. So 622-9622. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning.
I told you before we went on the air that we were talking about you this morning because the questions weren't anything Robin and I had any expertise on.
Well, hopefully they'll call back, and we can certainly touch on those things. But before we get started, I have to make this announcement. I just want to say congratulations to our office manager, Debbie Ruggles, a diehard Buckeyes fan, on their big win last night. If I didn't say that, she would have changed the locks, wouldn't let me in the office anymore. And the reason they won is because she wears the Buckeyes hat and her Buckeye socks for the game.
Oh, no.
That made all the difference in the world.
Wow.
That's wonderful.
Superstitions are useful, aren't they? Yeah, that's funny.
Are you taking her to lunch today?
That's funny.
Are you going to have a celebration?
Did she call you?
Do you know, speaking of houses and football, Robin's brother built his own house up in Lodi.
Yes.
And I noticed that they have a Gators emblem on one wall and a Seminole emblem on the other. Does that mean your brother and sister-in-law are different?
Yeah, Jim's Gators and Ramona's Seminoles.
Well, down here that means that's a mixed marriage, right?
That's right, exactly.
That's right. That's right.
Your son's caught in the middle. Which way do I go?
But I would like to. You had someone that was asking about home insurance.
Yes.
And just to touch on that, and also I want to talk about some of the remodeling and some of the newer trends that are supposed to be the hot thing for 2015. But homeowners insurance is something that anybody that owns a house with a mortgage on it has to have. It's a condition of the loan.
Smart to have, even if you paid the mortgage, right?
Well, if you don't have to, but we would, especially if you get a sinkhole or something like that. Yeah. But that's up to the individual. But if there's a loan involved, you have to have a homeowner's policy, and the homeowner's policy is for the house itself. It doesn't have anything to do with the land. So,
which is what came up this morning. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you look at if you have a house that's valued at $200,000, approximately 20% of that will be considered land value. So you don't need a homeowner's policy for $200,000. You would need it for 80% of that. And you would want the policy to include your furniture, your jewelry, things that you want insured.
Okay. It sounded like this morning it was more than the house is worth, is what they were saying.
Well, your contents are gonna drive drive it up, but it doesn't include, when you look at that total package, it doesn't include the land.
Can you include the basic insurance in your in your monthly house payment?
In most cases today, it has to be that way.
Oh, okay.
So it's part of, when you pay, like last week we were talking about the $400, I think, for a $100,000 mortgage. Your taxes and insurance will be in addition to that, and usually that's in a monthly payment. The bank wants to make sure that money's already there in case something happens.
And there was one tax question, if you don't mind, the $100,000 home, just using that as a easy figure. Mm-hmm. Is only $50,000 taxed? Is that how Florida works? $50,000 is taxed?
No. You have you have a home. If you're the homeowner, and you file for your homestead, you get a $50,000 tax benefit, homestead exemption.
Okay.
Of up to $50,000. So off your taxable value. it comes off of that.
Okay.
So if you have a home that's worth $30,000, which doesn't really exist too much anymore, but you'll have like almost no taxes. But the homestead exemption is based off the value, and for the average homeowner, it's $50,000. If you're disabled or you're a veteran, there's additional homestead exemptions available.
So a $200,000 home in New Jersey, in the more expensive states, would be a much smaller home than here in Ocala, correct?
Pretty much.
Pretty much. So do we have that difference here in the county itself? And somebody mentioned, I don't know if it was Robin, Golden Ocala.
Yes, Golden
Ocala is more expensive than some other area. So would a $100,000 home, or whatever the price is, at the same cost, be a smaller home there than it would be somewhere else, right in the same county?
Sure. Well, if you're talking about out there, you're talking about the country club. You might have a 4,000 to 6,000 to 8,000 square foot home. Well, the average home is probably about 1,700 square feet. Okay, so just the size difference.
That's a big difference.
Is huge.
Okay.
So when you, as a builder, you're going to quote so much per square foot. So even if the houses had exactly the same features, a house that's 3,000 square foot bigger is going to cost a heck of a lot more. It's 3,000 square feet times, use your number, 90, 120, 80, whatever you're using per square foot to build. Then you take in the cost of the land. If you're going to be in a country club, usually that land is cost more than, say, a vacant lot in, Rainbow Springs or somewhere like that, or even an in-town lot. So then you have amenities that go with it. You have to put in the soft costs that are associated with it, all the engineering that goes with it, the utilities and what have you. So yeah, it's easy, and those houses in an area like you had mentioned, they're going to have a lot different amenities. They're going to have high ceilings. They're going to have upgraded appliances. They're going to have different types of everything's bigger and better, supposedly. And so that's going to make for a big difference in price.
Can you walk into a house and know, just from the decorations, the wallpaper, et cetera, when they were built, maybe what decade? Or
in around here, you can kind of guesstimate, because you're not going to see a lot of houses that are more than like 50 years old. So you can kind of you have a general idea, unless you're in the historic district or something where there's a good chance they're going to be a lot older. But you have a general idea. If you're looking at a house and it doesn't have a split plan, you can guess that it's probably around 1980, maybe a little bit earlier, maybe even into the 60s before that became popular.
But that ceiling height, you said that's something that's newer. I guess it was older, then it was, now it's newer again? Was that because of air conditioning? Is that why the ceilings were lower for a while?
It's just, I don't know, but if you look at most homes, your average home, they had 8-foot ceilings. That's the way they were built. And then as things move forward, you start to see the vaulted ceilings, and then people wanted nicer stuff, so they go, instead of 8 foot, you go 10 foot or 9 feet all across the house. So, but the newer construction will almost always have homes higher than 8-foot ceilings.
I know you wanted to talk about some of the interior things, the furniture, the wallpaper, et cetera. So we'll take our little break, and then we'll be right back. And remember, the phone lines are open if you want to call in. Bob Kennedy is here to answer your questions about real estate. You had a bunch of questions this morning that Robin and I couldn't answer, so you got to ask them again, unless we touched on them somehow inadvertently. Bob is here from Berkshire Hathaway Home Team Realty, and we'll tell you his number at his office when we come back. This is The Source, WOCA Ocala.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. After some dense morning fog, we'll see plenty of clouds today. It'll be warm but humid with a shower in spots, mainly this afternoon. The high today 72 to 76. Tonight, mostly cloudy with a couple of showers around, along with some fog late, low 56 to 60. Tomorrow, areas of fog in the morning, otherwise mostly cloudy skies with the highs anywhere from the mid-60s to the lower 70s. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
The Ocala Civic Theater presents Sleuth. The mystery is in the wits of the two young rivals that battle each other to commit the perfect crime. Predator becomes prey, and this diabolical thriller blends danger and dark humor. The tension builds with every riveting plot twist and illusion. Sleuth at the Ocala Civic Theater on stage January 8th to January 18th. Call the box office at 352-236-2274. Career Source Citrus Levy Marion brings together business and community partners, economic development leaders, and educational providers to connect employers with qualified, skilled talent and job seekers with employment and career development opportunities. Tune in the first and third Wednesday of each month at 9:30 a.m. to Career Source Citrus Levy Marion and learn how they can help you.
Experience the golden age of aviation with a ride on a fully restored 1929 airliner, EAA's immaculate Ford Tri-Motor, when it lands at Ocala International Airport Thursday, January 15th through Sunday, January 18th. You can also take a ride on EAA's World War II B-17 bomber Aluminum Overcast, one of the greatest military aircraft of all time. Book your flights today online at b17.org and flytheford.org or call 1-800-359-6217. Hosted by EAA Chapter 812.
January is National Blood Donor Month, and the folks at the Voice of South Marion would like to remind you that just one donation could potentially save 3 lives. You don't know when you or someone you love may desperately need a transfusion. By being a donor, you can help to ensure that when blood is needed, it'll be there. Plus, it feels really good to give the gift of life. The health benefits to you are a mini physical, checking pulse, blood pressure, body temperature, and hemoglobin. And the Voice of South Marion brings this message to you because they care about the community. And thank you for stepping up to help.
Don't have the answers. All right, we're back. Bob Kennedy is here from Berkshire Hathaway Home Team Realty, and we're talking about houses. It's an exciting topic. If you're renting right now, I think the big message we took away from last week's show is that whatever you're paying for rent, it's got to be at least $400. And in Robin's case, it's more than that. I won't say how much because she told me after the air, but she could easily afford that $100,000 home you were talking about.
Well, rates are just really low. I mean, you want to run the calculations. I wouldn't say home ownership is for everyone, but if you're in an area and you plan on being there for a period of time, say a good 5 years, and there's a way for you to buy a home, I think you're going to be way ahead of the game.
What does your credit score need to be? What's the...
It depends on the programs, banks. I would say you're going to have to be somewhere in the mid sixes, but don't, a mortgage person can tell you for sure. Yeah. But you have to have decent credit. You don't have to have amazing credit.
Okay.
For all the government programs.
All right. And can a mortgage be paid with a credit card?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Maybe some places have them. Who knows? Maybe you can use Apple Pay for now. For who knows?
All right, so I'm anxious to hear what you have planned to talk about. You have wallpaper and furniture.
Well, so the beginning of the year comes and everybody's talking about remodeling ideas and things they want to do around the house if they've just bought a house, whatever it might be. So now all the gurus across the country come out with their hot lists, and I just want to throw a couple out there and see what people's opinions are on them.
Oh, okay.
One of the things that is in is more light colors. Blue seems to make everybody's list, all different shades of blue.
Is that right?
Yeah, and this is what we see in all the magazines and online. Accent walls and bold colors are out.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
That's according to these folks.
So would this be an accent wall behind me?
That's pretty mild.
That's a mild accent
because it's not real bold.
Okay.
That would still fall. That's more like an earth tone.
Okay.
So that would be it. And this is a surprising one for a lot of people. They say wallpaper is in.
Oh.
And I'm sure you can have a lot of opinions.
Has it improved? I mean, it used to be
Yeah,
a
it's
pain
tough.
to put up, a pain to take down.
I would assume it's still both of those.
Still both?
But if it looks good and people like it, it's become a hot trend this year. I'm not a fan personally, but there's just so
Really?
there's so many different materials and the way things are done now. Like one of the things that's real popular is porcelain flooring, as that looks like wood. And it's cheaper than real wood, and it's supposed to wear a lot better. That's a new thing. Tile floors that look like wood have been around for a while. Those things look awesome. And they come in all different colors. I mean, it doesn't feel like wood, of course, when you walk on it, but you have all these different textures. Vinyl flooring, they have a new type of vinyl flooring that you're going to see tons of over the next couple of years. That is just amazing. You can't even, you just look at it and you start scratching the floors. You're saying, is this really? And it's vinyl,
Really?
but it's
like that.
it's not our grandparents' vinyl.
Yeah, right.
So you have
Big
some of that.
And do people hire interior decorators now, or do they prefer to do it themselves?
You have both. Sometimes people come in, give you ideas. Sometimes people, a lot of people are really creative, and in your own home, that's what you want. Some people want to go with the standards. Some people are very eclectic in what they want to see. So if you're going to bring a designer in, you probably have a little bit more specific idea of what you want to do, and some people just kind of go room by room.
Oh, okay.
There's no, it's your house. You do what you do what makes you feel good.
Some people have a wife. That's usually good enough, right?
Yeah.
Sure. Thank you for interjecting.
I just
Because believe me, I'm talking about this stuff, and I am unqualified.
So when you're showing a house,
Yeah.
do you ever have the couple that says, "Oh, this is a beautiful house," and then she says, like the story I told you about the friends I had in New York, the wife said, "This wallpaper has to go." Easy for her to say, hard for her husband and her friend, which was me, to pull it down.
Yeah, well, people are going to always want to, walls and flooring are the two things that people are going to come in and do things to almost without fail when they buy a house. They're going to want to do something with the colors on the wall, and unless the carpeting is exactly what they want, they're going to either change out the carpeting or go to something that is not carpeting. They're either going to go from carpet to tile, tile to wood, wood to tile, things like that. But that's the first thing many people do.
So let's say you're going through a house and you're representing, let's say, the buyer and the seller. Mm-hmm. So the buyer says, well, before I buy it, I want the seller to do this, to take down the wallpaper, to do something. Does that change the negotiations regarding the price?
That's you're really getting into a lot there, because if the deal falls through, if the people don't get qualified or something happens,
then they've made all those
then
changes.
the seller has done a bunch of stuff to the house, then that's something that there'd be a long philosophical discussion about before we got into that.
Yeah.
Do you do landscaping also? Does the landscaping count with the interior part of the house?
The landscaping is, goes with the house. So unless somebody has potted plants or something, but if whatever somebody's planted will go with the house. Is that kind of what you were?
Yes.
Yeah. And also one of the continuing trends, it's also this year, but it's been for the last few years, is kind of the combination of outdoor space for indoor. You want to have a nice fire pit and things where people are expanding their living space into the outdoor area. That's another big one.
Do you go to home shows like conferences or whatever? Where there's like a bunch of real estate people and you're looking at all the new options and all that stuff?
Personally, I don't. I really don't have that much time. I'm less interested in it than you may think because I'm talking about it now. But we have. But a lot of agents are excellent when it comes to understanding what's new, what's better, what's coming. Hey, try this, get ahead of the curve, and that's great. I'm just kind of bogged down with day-to-day stuff, and I'm not really a designer kind of guy.
But are you the go-to guy when we have all these questions? Like if we come to you and say, Bob, can you help us? We want to buy a house. Okay. Mm-hmm. So we don't know the first thing. And can you take us by the hand and show us, well, here's the first step, here's the second step?
Well, absolutely. I mean, that's what we do. And then when you get into things like we're talking about here, that's a lot more personal, and that's what you're going to spend your days wandering through Home Depot and Lowe's and looking at different ideas and things like that. But as far as the nuts and bolts of, hey, how do we do it? Where do we go? What can we afford? That's what we're here for.
You have to build that trust, though. I mean, when a person comes to you to buy a house or any kind of property, you have to have that bond between the two of you.
You hope to. A lot of times when someone's buying a home, an agent's going to spend a lot of time with those folks, and you develop. You really start to understand who they are, what they're looking for. The more information, the more information that people share, the better the end product's going to be.
So we were talking about things that are in style or are not in style. I have a question for you. I walked into a house one time, and I'm sure you've seen many of these, where the vacuum cleaner system was in the walls.
The old central vac.
And I thought, that's a crazy idea. Of course, people loved it. I thought it was stupid because what if that thing breaks? You got to clean out those hoses in the walls. Are they still popular? Or is that?
You don't see them too much anymore. In the 70s and probably into the mid 80s, you saw a lot of them. The central vacuum would be in the garage where you would empty everything out, and then you'd have, depending on the house, you'd have several different outlets where you would plug the hose into, so you didn't have to move. Yeah,
it's so hard, isn't it?
It didn't seem
that Hoover just didn't roll well enough.
I don't know. It was kind of cool for a while. But
did you have one?
I did. And up north it was a little bit different because you had multi-floors, but we had one down here, and we just kind of got tired of it.
Or like the full house sound system too. That was pretty popular for a while. Is that still?
Well, there's the sound systems are so phenomenal today that you can get, whether it's wireless or whatever. And so a lot of houses, it's not like the old intercoms, where you're squawking to each other from room to room. Some of the sound systems themselves, where the music is, there's some really nice ones.
Can we talk about one home at least? Just give us one that's on your list that you like. Take us on into that brochure or whatever where it shows the home.
Well, we have a really nice house over in Cobblestone North in Bellevue. It's Adams built home. It's a huge home. It's 3,000 square feet, has 4 bedrooms and 3 baths. It's a great family home. The people that live there, they love it, and he's being transferred out of state. So it's with mixed emotions. They're happy about the promotion, sad about leaving the neighborhood, but that's a really good value.
How much?
That's, I think, $226.
Oh, wow.
And that's good for families with children because it must be next to a school district.
Oh, my gosh. Actually, you must have seen the house because you could walk to the Bellevue Middle and High School from there.
Oh,
it's over in that area. Okay. Now I know exactly where it is.
It's, but it's great. That's a home, if anybody's familiar out there with Adams Homes, that was one of their staple models for many, many years. It's just a great floor plan.
Bob, what is your phone number?
622-9700. That may or may not be answered by our office manager, who may still be just dreaming of Ohio State. But if nobody answers, please call back.
622-9700, Berkshire Hathaway Home Team Realty. Bob Kennedy, thank you. Always good to have you in the studio.
Enjoyed it. Thank you.
It's always fun. You always make me want to go buy a house. Every single time. So we'll take a little break. We'll be right back.